Hello, I am Professor Craig here with psychology, and today we will be learning about some psychology things. Our physical abilities, strength, reaction time, sensory awareness, and cardiac output all crest by the mid-20s. As you get older, your physical abilities slowly begin to decline. In early to mid-adulthood, physical vigor has less to do with age than with a person's health. Interesting. A physically fit 50-year-old can run 4 miles with ease, but men like this can find themselves winded going up a flight of stairs. In later life, physical abilities decline greatly compared to when you were young. Old adults may find themselves lacking muscle strength and sometimes balance. Whoa! As you get older, you become more susceptible to life-threatening illnesses such as cancer and pneumonia.
Hello, Miss Henson. There's no way to sugarcoat this. You have stage 4 leukemia.
What? How long do I have?
Could be a month, maybe longer, but we can either try our best or let nature take its course.
In good news, due partly to the body's accumulation of antibodies, those over 69 years of age suffer fewer short-term illnesses. Interesting information here. Our sensory abilities begin to decline in adulthood. Visual sharpness diminishes. Distance perception diminishes. And adaptation to change in light diminishes.
Oh, hello, little girl.
Hello, Grandma.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a little girl. I just can't see very well in my old age.
That's quite alright, Grandma. I love you.
In later life, just like vision, hearing and sense of smell also diminish.
Alright, so just make sure that you're looking at the board. You know what you're supposed to be typing out. You gotta make sure you know. You gotta make sure you know what you're doing. You have to understand when to turn it in.
Adults tend to suffer a substantial loss of brain cells up to age 96. The incidence of mental disintegration doubled roughly every 5 years. A sense of small strokes, brain tumor, or alcohol dependency can progressively damage the brain as well, causing the mental erosion we call dementia. So too can the brain ailment Alzheimer's disease, which strikes 3% of the world's population by age 75. Watch out. Alzheimer's begins with the memory deterioration, then reasoning. It appears I forgot to go to the bathroom. Excuse me. As the disease runs its course, after 5 to 20 years, the person becomes emotionally flat, then disoriented, then incontinent, and finally mentally vacant. A sort of living death. underlying the symptoms is a loss of brain cells and a deterioration of neurons that produce the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Deprived of this vital chemical messenger, memory and thinking suffer. Among the most intriguing developmental psychology questions is whether adult cognitive abilities, such as memory, intelligence, and creativity, parallel the gradual accelerating decline of physical abilities. As we age, there is a decline in perspective memory, or remember this memory. Time-based tasks like remembering a 3 o'clock meeting and habitual tasks such as remembering to take your medications 3 times daily can be especially challenging.
Oh, would you look what time it is? It's time to take my medication. I forgot to take my medication.
On the other hand, prospective memory remains strong when events help trigger memories. To minimize problems associated by declining prospective memory, adults can rely on time management or on reminders, like notes to themselves. Remembering seems to depend on the type of information we are trying to retrieve. If the information is meaningless, the older we are, the more likely we are to forget it. However, if the information is meaningful, older people will be more able to remember this. Crystallized intelligence, or accumulated knowledge, as reflected in vocab and analogy tests, increase up to old age. However, fluid intelligence, our ability to reason speedily and abstract, decreases slowly up to age 75.
In orbital mechanics, the Hohmann transfer orbit is an orbital maneuver using 2 engine impulses which, under standard assumptions, move a spacecraft between the 2 coplanar circular orbits.
Excuse me, but how do you do long division?
2 plus 2 equals 22?
With age, we lose and win. We lose recall memory and processing speed, but we gain vocabulary and knowledge. As people enter their 40s, they undergo a transition to middle adulthood. Many imagine a midlife crisis at this time of realization that your life will soon be all behind you and not ahead of you. But in reality, unhappiness, job dissatisfaction, marital dissatisfaction, divorce anxiety, and suicide do not surge during the early 40s.
I'm so tired of this, I lost my job and I need to change. This car is so beat, look at it.
Nice new car, man!
Dude, isn't it fire? I only spent $80,000 on it.
Oh, okay.
For many who do report experiencing a midlife crisis, the trigger is not age, but a major event such as illness or job loss. Life after events trigger transitions to new life stages at varying ages. The social clock, or the right time for important life events, varies from era to era and culture to culture. 2 basic aspects of our lives dominate our adulthood. They've been called intimacy and generativity, affiliation and achievement, commitment and competence. But simply put, the 2 basic social aspects of our adult lives are love and work. Hopman Rorick, will you do me the honor of spending the rest of your life with me? Throughout adulthood, we typically flirt, fall in love, and commit one person at a time. From an evolutionary perspective, relatively monogamous pairing makes sense. Parents who cooperate to nurture their children to maturity were more likely to have their genes passed along. I am so glad that we finally decided to adopt a child.
I've been waiting for this for years.
Oh look, here she comes now!
Daddies!
Adult bonds of love are most satisfying and enduring when marked by a similarity of interests and values. Couples who seal their love with marriage more often endure marriage bonds are especially likely to last when couples marry after age 20 and are educated. Ironically, in the US and Canada, there is now 1 divorce for every 2 marriages. Causes for this can come from women's lessened economic dependence on men, unshared interest in children.
Dad, I need money.
That's gonna be a no.
I guess we can just give her a little bit.
No, we need to save for college.
When children are brought into the home, they can cause tension amongst parents. It's found that the most satisfactory period of parents is actually once their child moves out. Work is one of the other important social aspects of our lives. It helps us answer the worldwide question, who are you?
I really love my job. I really love helping students. It's the best part of my job. I love it.
For many, choosing a career path can be difficult. Careers and interests often tend to change. In the end, happiness is about having work that fits your interests and provides you with a sense of competence and accomplishment. Overall, despite false preconceptions, adulthood is a period filled with positive emotions. Scientifically speaking, the amygdala, a neuron processing center for emotions, shows diminishing activity in older adults in response to negative events. All in all, adulthood seems like a pretty good time to be alive.
In the end, most of us will suffer and cope with the death of relatives and friends. Grief is especially severe when the death of a loved one comes suddenly and before expected on the social clock.
I feel it. It's gonna be okay. I don't know what we're gonna do without her. I can finally get on with my life.
The accidental death of a child may trigger a year or more of mourning that eventually subsides into mild depression. For some, however, the loss is unbearable. One study, following over 1 million parents, found that more than 17,000 had suffered the death of a child under 18. In the 5 years following, 3% had their first psychiatric hospitalization. All in all, we can be grateful for the waning of death-denying attitudes. Facing death with dignity and openness helps people complete their life cycle with a sense of meaningfulness and unity.
Well, hello there. It appears that I forgot to go to the bathroom. An early to mid adulthood physical.
No.
An early to
No.
An early to mid
No.
to life physical
No.
ability. In later life physical abilities to
No.
Go.
our sensory. How about Chinese? Our sensory ability also begin to
No.
Oh my god.
our sensory abilities also begin to decline in adulthood.
No.